where I'm posting these materials as well. And I already have a couple of the recorded sessions that we've done in the previous session for public libraries posted, and I worked to get that done this morning so that you could have that to share with colleagues, and you will also get obviously your live session as well as a recording and the slide presentation from that also. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, welcome. I'm Russell Palmer, and if you are coming in just now, and my colleague Mike White is with me, and we'll cover the following things today. We've changed the way that users will be logging in going forward in Galileo. We're still using the password for now. We're still working toward making that move to single sign-on for all of our libraries eventually. But right now, public libraries are still utilizing the Galileo password. So we'll talk about how that works, what it looks like now, what are all the different ways you can log in. There's a couple of different options. We'll talk about navigation. We'll just review the page generally and kind of compare it to the previous page, how things are different now, what we've added, what are the new features. We'll take a look at a couple of our new features specifically. In the past, we had a database search that worked okay within our just general subject list of databases, but we've really improved the database search, and that is one of the things that we've really done as part of this redesign. The database search redesign is sort of a first step toward a larger improvement to search on the main Galileo page, but I'll talk about that more when we actually look at it. We've added an opportunity for library systems at the system level, not at the branch level, but at the system level for public libraries. Currently, you are now able to add resources to what we call the spotlight. You can highlight 6 resources for your library system. So you can highlight the most commonly used resources at your library, or very popular resources. So for example, as the defaults, we have set things like Ancestry. We all know that's a very popular resource. So you'll see what that looks like, and we can talk a little bit about how you make changes there. We'll talk about the database lists, how those have changed. So if users are looking for a specific database, we also present a list option still. We'll talk about the changes that we made to Galileo support. And then we'll also talk about the About Galileo areas and the tools and training areas so that you can be familiar with, where you might have seen something on the page in the past, like governance information or password details, when the password changes are coming, things like that are within our About pages, and we've updated and improved those pages. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. The first slide I have will share with you some of the new ways that we've designed to log in. And again, I think this works just much better live. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my presentation, and I'm going to go ahead and begin sharing my browser here. And there we go. And the first thing you're going to see, and Mike, if you can do the usual favor and let me know when you see the Galileo search page, that would be wonderful.
Yep, I can see it.
Thank you so much, Mike. And so I will try to go a little slower today too, Mike. Apparently, when I did a session last week, it was kind of slow to catch up with me. I kind of run fast, and let me know if I'm going too fast, and Mike will tell me. Just let me know in the chat. So what we have here in terms of logging in is we've moved toward institution-specific logging in. So eventually, public libraries will log in either via Pines or via your local catalog login, depending on the type of, if you're a Pines library, it'll be Pines. If you're a non-Pines library, it'll be whatever catalog option you use. But users will log in that way in the not-too-distant future. So what we've done, again, is if we created an institution-specific login instance. So I'm affiliated with Athens Clarke County Library, so I can search Athens, and then I can search in, and it brings up things at the system level. But what we've also done here is if somebody is really associated with a branch, we wanted them to be, able to log in. Obviously, it's going to log them in at the system level, but we wanted them to be able to find their branch if that's how they were familiar with to looking for things. Or maybe they're new to the community and they just look for their branch. We didn't want them to trip over that. So I am affiliated. My branch that I use most often is the Oconee County Library. So I can go ahead and click on that, and it will take me to the Galileo password page for the Oconee County Library. My internet is a little slow. I was using this on my phone yesterday. I was just doing tests and check-ins, and everything was working nifty swift. I think it's my computer and my distance from my modem that's causing the issue today. There we go. So once I'm here, I simply key in the Galileo password, and it takes me to the new Galileo search page. We're going to spend some time here, obviously, but I want to complete the look at the different ways that you can log in. So I'm going to go ahead, and you see I'm authenticated to the Athens Regional Library System. I'm going to go ahead and log out again. One of the nice things that we designed into this, what we call the Galileo Wayfinder, as a new feature, the Wayfinder, you find your way via finding your institution, is it will save the institutions that you most recently logged in from. So if you have patrons who are affiliated, obviously, with your public library system, they're affiliated with, so here in Athens, we might have someone who also is a university student who also goes to the public library, but they also might be taking a class on the side here at the Piedmont College campus. What you'll see is it saves your recent selections, so you don't have to go digging for them every time if you're affiliated with multiple institutions. It just gives you an easy and quick route to those institutions. So while I'm affiliated with the Oconee County Library, I'm also affiliated with the University System Office here in Athens. So I can click on the University System Office, and it's going to present me with a single sign-on option. Just to show you this, eventually for public libraries, this will go to a Pines screen to log you in. But right now I'm logging in via my University System credentials, and it has two-step login, and it's going to filter me through all that, and it's going to take me right to the Galileo search page for the University System Office. And we've also added this convenient log out button so that users can log out. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So that is just the basics of logging in and out using the Galileo Wayfinder, but we didn't want to remove just yet the simplicity of what people are used to. Not that this is terribly complicated, but it does add a step, but it does give you the value of being able to log in an institution-specific way. We'd still have the plain old flat out, you know your Galileo password, slap it in there. So again, I can just key in my password. All I have to do is scroll down the page, and now I'm logged in to Galileo Search as Athens Regional Library System. So from here, just to cover the features, and again, I want to make sure that right now, the redesign that we've done to date was really designed to improve the back-end infrastructure, make some essential improvements to the front end for users, but also keep it consistent. So we're not doing, at this point, we haven't done anything that seems to be a really jarring change. We didn't want to do that. So the search that you see here on the main page, the Galileo search, is the same as it ever was. It's the Ebsco Discover search that we've always used. And we also made sure to include that advanced search link because there are a lot of users who like to go straight in and limit to a specific publication or other things. So that functionality has remained. So you have all my stock searches here: fishing, driving, first report of the lesser wax moth. Yeah, that was some fun I was having looking for something for an academic library user. So I can go ahead and I'm looking for articles about driving. Of course, that's a very broad topic. But I go ahead and run that search in the Galileo Discover search, and it's going to give me the same results list that I'm used to seeing. Also, in the not too distant future, Ebsco is working currently to make improvements to the Ebsco Discovery service. So we'll be seeing marked improvement from that vendor that provides us with our this is because I've logged in as 3 or 4 different institutions this morning. You shouldn't encounter this problem, but just letting you know that that's because I've logged in as System Office. I should have cleared my cache and cookies before I did this. So we have the research starter, driving injuries, driving, a book, an ebook. So it gives me my video results. So just the same results list that I'm used to seeing in previous iterations of Galileo. And then I can click on the advanced search, and you'll see that you get the same advanced search option that you've always gotten from, again, previous Galileo versions. Wants to work really slow today, and I apologize for that. I think it has more to do with my network than the performance of Galileo. So there's the advanced search. So those are, again, very basic things that we've kept the same as ever. One thing that we have added to assist users during this transition, and I'm going to log out again, is you see this What's New button at the top. And that appears both on the login screen and after you've logged in, with some different instructions on kind of what to do when you're logged into Galileo. So if I click on that What's New button and engage it, it gives me some little pop-ups that tell me, what I can find and what I need to do. Search your institution and to find your login screen. I clicked skip instead of next, but if I click next, it will take me on down to the, if I know my password, I can go ahead and log in. So those are just basic pieces of information, excuse me, that I get there about logging in, and then I can go ahead and close that out, or try to. I lost my skip button, Mike. It's the first time that's happened. I'll just reload the page. So also, I'm going to go ahead and log back in again. Notice that I can just go ahead and click Oconee County Library this time, log in, and click go, and I'll be logged back in. It's picking up some speed now. So the What's New also works here. So it tells me I can use the Discover search to find articles, ebooks, newspapers, videos, and more. The Discover Galileo search searches many of the databases with a single search. And it also points to the advanced search and on down the page. I'm going to cover all those things in detail, but I just wanted to show you that. So if you have a user who's brand new to this and you want to, you're busy at the reference desk, or you're busy with phone calls, or a virtual reference, or however you're working right now, and you want to give a user a good, quick way to kind of get familiar with all the new features, the What's New is a great way to do that. So the next sort of new features that I wanted to make sure that you all are aware of are how we've arranged databases by subject and by type, and also share with you the Galileo Databases search. So different from lists in the past, we have an alphabetical list of our databases by subject. One of the complaints that we got consistently in the past was that the subject list was pretty cumbersome, pretty lengthy, and far too detailed for the average user, even the academic user. So we scaled back the number of subjects that we used, and we also paralleled the subjects that are used by Ebsco in the Ebsco Discovery Search, which will help us to do some customizations for things in the future and future iterations of Galileo as we move toward continuous improvement. So the databases by subject area is just that. If I want to see all the subjects, it gives me sort of the first four. The number of databases is how many databases cover that subject. And I can go ahead and view all subjects, and it's going to give me a modal window where I can look at all of the subjects from A to Z. And I can also move to a numerical sort. And if I do that numerical sort, it'll show me which databases have the most resources. I go back to the A to Z just so that you see you can, I ended economics here on the first screen, but I click next and I can go on through the subject list and see all the subjects here just by going previous or next. If I want to just look at a list of all the available databases that I can access in Galileo and an alphabetical list, I'm going to go ahead and click all databases here below the database search, and it will provide me with a list A to Z of all the available databases, and I can also use the database search here. Another feature and functionality that we've added here that will hopefully make this a lot better for your users is they can also limit by type of material. So if they were looking for articles, or if they want to make sure this list of 173 databases provides them with just resources that provide full text, they can click that limit within the limit and get a more succinct list of full text resources. And if at any point they want to start over, they can. I'm going to cover the database entries in more detail in just a moment, but I just want to pop back and just want to show you that functionality really quickly. That one thing that we're probably going to add in the not too distant future. One thing we quibbled a lot about, we thought we were adding a database search. We provided this list of all databases and they're alphabetical. but we will most likely add a facet somewhere over here on the left at some point soon that will provide an A to Z option, so you can click A and click B. We know that people sometimes like to browse databases alphabetically just to kind of see what's there. And browsing a long list is appealing to some, but some people do like to. They remember, oh, I heard about this database that starts with B, and if I see the name of it, I know I'm going to find it. And having that alphabetical scan will make it a little bit easier. So we'll probably be adding that as one of our next additions. I don't know what the timeline for that will be yet, but just know that that's very likely coming soon. So going back to just the main page here. So that's the viewing by subjects. We also did a lot of revision to the databases by type, and we're still working on the databases by subject and type in terms of the sort of metadata organization of that, and I think we will continue to make improvements to this. We've added local options that were needed and required for this, and we will continue to evolve these lists. Probably the next time we work on these lists by subject and by type, we'll engage with some metadata experts to help us out with that. So I'm going to go ahead and view all types here. So if I'm looking for specifically encyclopedias, I click on encyclopedias here. And again, just the same, you get the A to Z sort and the numerical sort. You can see which kind of category you have the most of. Full text resources, 66. But if I wanted to just get specifically to encyclopedias, I can do that easily just by going to the types and clicking on encyclopedias. And then apparently today waiting occasionally. Bear with me. Well, not going to slow the whole session down for that, but just trust me that it will provide. There we go. So it provides me with Funkin Wagnalls, Medline Plus, the new Georgia Encyclopedia. Just as an FYI, some of you will have access to Britannica, some won't, but the Funkin Wagnalls New World Encyclopedia is actually a really good encyclopedia. I have high recommends for that one if you're looking for an online encyclopedia. So that is the databases by type area. Again, I can view all types and browse just like I could with the subjects. Finally, let me just share with you the databases by subject type or name search. This is a new feature that we've added. We heard from a lot of our GDAC committee that users really want to be able to pinpoint more easily where to search. And that's, I think, one of the hardest things for users to do in the Galileo environment previously. So we added this databases by subject type or name, and I think we've done some great improvements to metadata there. And the search works on keywords and other things. So I'll show you that if I'm looking for resources, this worked really great the other day. Somebody had this as an example. Where do I find genealogy resources? Well, genealogy is a subject over in the subject area, but genealogy also is very searchable here. So I can click search, and it provides me with 27 results from Athens Clarke County Library really quickly, right out of the gate. Full 3, Ancestry, Heritage Quest, Georgia Archives. All these are pretty much spot on resources, the Digital Library of Georgia, that our users use in for genealogy research. So that is just the database search in action. And you also see that you have the option to limit by types: article databases, full text resources, archives and primary sources, or subjects. History, Georgia, genealogy, biography, and kind of narrow your search further as you get into the list. Now that I'm into an actual database list, one of the things, again, that we wanted to make better, easier, and clearer for our users was, and one of the common complaints was, oh, there's way too much information. This page is not very clean. It's not very easy to use. And we wanted to improve our databases, just the information that we provided. So we sort of shored up the amount of information that displays on the main page and on the main list, and just have a brief description here. We also did a lot of improvements to branding. But in any case, for Fold 3, if I want to see more, what does this provide? What are those specifics here? And this is an Athens Clarke County specific resource, so I'm sure they've done a great job. I can click on the More Info here, and it gives me that lengthy description. It tells me what formats are available, what subjects it covers, and The other nice thing that we've added here on an individual database record, we have the Galileo Express link here. So if you want to put a direct link from your library website to Fold 3 in this case, you can do that very easily. And Athens Clarke County, I know, does that well. But the other thing that we've added here is the ability to, if I'm looking at this database and I'm a patron in the library and I'm like, well, I want to, library's closing, or I've got limited access to the library right now and I'm only here for an hour and I want to email myself some stuff to look at later, I can email the database record to myself really easily and even put a little message in there telling me what that was for. Also, we've added the ability in the database list to send the database and the express link to your phone. And most major mobile providers are included here in this list, so they just select their carrier, put in their phone number, and send it. If for whatever reason you find someone that has a carrier that isn't in this list, send us a support ticket and we'll see if we can't get it added. And we'll make sure that we keep that covered. But they're pretty well covered just in the default list here. And from here, I can go back to my search results list and see other information. The other thing we've done is we've put the express link. We did this in the in old Galileo, but we put the express link front and center, easy to access here. I can click on the express link and just copy it right away and put it on my library website or a guide that I'm making or a handout or whatever I want to add that express link to directly to the database. So those are the basics of the database search. Again, we wanted to have something that was more responsive to searching databases by subject type or name, and I think the development team did a great job with that using a nice new software piece that we have access to. Next, the other thing I know that your library users ask for, and some of you have, for example, the Consumer Reports widget that we provide. If you're interested in the Consumer Reports widget and you don't have it, let us know with a support ticket and we can give you the code that you need to add the Consumer Report widget to your website. But we have here the All Journals list. So if someone is looking for a specific publication, they can go in and get a list of all their publications. Just to let you know, there are two different formats for this, one for the USG and TCSG institutions, and then the public libraries and the other academic institutions have the Ebsco format. So you might see a couple of different looks to this. If somebody's doing research from a USG school, for example, in your library, this might look strange or different. It's red instead of blue. Just know that there are different iterations of this just based on the software we're using based on the institution. But you can enter the publication type here, so it's same functionality that was there before. If I'm looking for consumer reports, I can find and access consumer reports really easily using the all databases list to search for that item. So just wanted to show you that functionality is now sort of relocated a little bit in an all journals list. The next feature that I think I'm really proud of the work that the team did on this, both from a design perspective and a development perspective, is the In the Spotlight area. As I mentioned earlier, these areas are customizable by the institution, and you're not limited to just Galileo or local database resources here. If, for example, you wanted to spotlight or highlight on the Galileo main page an upcoming reading program, an upcoming library program on Galileo or a specific database, you can do that. You can, as long as you have a nice image and a link, and we do have some image requirements for this, and you had an administrative access user for your library system, then these all can be updated and changed. The defaults we chose just based on general ideas. Novelist, I probably would go back and change that to Learning Express if I had it to do over again. I was the one that picked the defaults, and I could probably do that if I change that now if I really wanted to. But we have Gale Legal Forms, eRead Kids. We tried to pick the most popular, heavily used resources based on data and anecdotal information here, so that the defaults were useful right away. So these are direct links to these resources, so that Mango is very popular in our public libraries. so that users can access these right away. But again, Mike White, again, who is here today, is offering routine courses. We're trying to identify the key user at each library system to be the lead person to do the setup for in the Spotlight. But we're offering regular training on the new Galileo backend called Galileo Admin or Galileo Administration. And we have two different flavors of that training. We have a very detailed training that will tell you how to update things like your all databases lists and all of the databases. But we also have a scaled back version where we just teach you the basics of Galileo admin and update you on how to use in the Spotlight. In a few minutes, I'm going to show you where all of the Galileo training information, including the Mike's training sessions, ongoing training sessions are scheduled and located, and you can always submit a support ticket to us, and Mike will be glad to get back to you if you're interested in being the point person at your system who updates in the Spotlight area. We're glad to get you trained to do that. We've made lots of improvements to that Galileo backend. Some of you may know it as GLRI or Galileo Local Resource integration. But we've made that a lot easier to use, and we've added some features and functionality like the Spotlight area or featured resources area for you all to use. So that is what that looks like. And finally, the about information. Hopefully in the not too distant future, we'll make the about information something that is editable by our institutions. We would like to do that, but there's some logistics things that we need to work out before we do, just in terms of how we get contacted and notified when changes are made here. Also, we have the same Galileo newsfeed that we've always had. We've just kind of updated that. The system alerts are here, and I'm going to show you the support page in just a minute so that you get an idea of where the Galileo support articles and other information like that lives. The last thing that I want you to be aware of on the Galileo main page, I know a lot of our institutions do like to use the Galileo search box, which gives you an institution-specific Galileo search that you can put on your library webpage or in other locations. We've relocated that here in the tools area. If you need to get access to your Galileo search box code, if you click there, it'll give it to you right in line. The one thing that we the area where that was located before, just to kind of give you the parallel, was it was right next to the search box. It had a little embed button, but we just decided that aesthetically that was confusing to users potentially. It was something that was very librarian specific and or web designer specific, and we wanted to kind of take that out of the main frame up there. So we've moved it here to the about area, and we were creating a tools area. And we thought that was a great idea to add a tools area because we may want to add other tools over time as we evolve different features and functionality. So that's another win for that. Finally, we have our support pages, and you can access those in a couple of different ways. We have our bottom bar, and I'm going to point out that the About Galileo area, I know that a lot of people were very used to clicking at the top right of the page to get all of our About Us and all that information. We've moved that, again, thinking about users and what they're looking for, we've moved that information to our footer. So we have the About Galileo link. Our different programs like Affordable Learning Georgia, Digital Library of Georgia are linked here. Governance information, community tools and training. All of these things are also repeated in the About Galileo area, but I just wanted to point out our footer here so that you see it. And I mentioned earlier in the session that there's a place where you can give us specific redesign feedback. That link is right here. It's a survey that you can complete. It's really quick to finish. It's just a quick couple of lines, and we'd love to get feedback from you all on the redesign. So just pointing out the options there in the footer, and then going back up, the support, we wanted to make sure that the support area was still prominent on the page. We have devoted a lot of time to updating our support articles, our FAQs, and creating better options for support forms. So in the Galileo support area, one thing I also wanted to share with you is you notice that on the main Galileo homepage now, where you hit it before you've logged in, we're no longer presenting an option for a guest login because that caused a lot of confusion for users. A guest, someone that wasn't affiliated with a Georgia library would, hit a guest user ID and then be wondering where the Ebsco content was because we didn't provide that licensed content through the guest user ID, and nor did we ever have any intention of that. So what we've done is if a user gets a sort of a bad login or they don't find their institution, we present them with a guest option. And we've also done a really nice article on guest users, although I need to go in and add a space to it, on the Galileo FAQs here. So my question is, I used to be able to log into Galileo as a guest. Can I still access resources like the Digital Library of Georgia and the New Georgia Encyclopedia? Absolutely. And what we've done is we've just used LibGuides to create a resource guide for people who may be coming in from out of state who want to access those resources like Digital Library of Georgia, Georgia Historic Newspapers, and we have links to all those resources here on the Galileo guest users page so that they can access those. We also have things like the official statistics blue book, Georgia data. So we sort of focus this on Georgia information. This is a page that will continue to evolve. I'm getting some feedback from Sheila McAllister at Digital Library of Georgia on what she would like to add here. We also wanted to add the program pages like Affordable Learning Georgia, the Georgia Knowledge Repository here to make sure that people can find those if, again, they were used to accessing them through that guest user page. Just wanted to point out that's a thing that we've changed fairly substantially from past iterations of Galileo. But do know that the browse questions is all there by category, and then we have our most asked questions. So the FAQs that are most frequently used appear over to the right. One of the things that we really wanted to do, and then we got feedback from our Galileo Development Advisory Committee on, was, hey, let's put something on the support page that redirects users. We get a lot of support tickets that are users looking for research help. And while we have some librarians on staff, that's not really what we do or what our focus is, and we can't provide them nearly as good a service as you all can locally with the local knowledge of resources that you have available. So we really wanted to point them back. If you're looking for research help, we put a line in here where they, if you need research help, contact your library. And we provided a link back to a list of all the participating libraries so that they can find their library and contact them directly. And of course, we route any support tickets that we get. We notify the library reference staff at that library and make sure that they get the adequate help with research that they need. The final thing that we've done with support is we have updated to have two forms. These, don't worry if you don't know which form to use, you can use either one of them. But we have basically divided things out into technical issues. So if you have a specific technical issue, you need us to set up a new database, you need to check in with us about, why something isn't working, the contact support services form is here. Some changes that we've made to the forms as we've asked for more detailed descriptions of error messages that you're seeing. And then also we've added an area for attachments. So we had one attachment option previously, but now you have the option to add up to 3 attachments. So if you're really working on something and you need to be able to share with us some attachments of what's happening, instead of 1, now you can do 3, which I think is awesome. If you're looking to have me, as I've done for a lot of you in the past, I love doing it. We probably can do something virtual. I've done a couple of virtual ones in the meantime. If you're looking for someone to, for example, come do some training at your library or do a virtual session or do a virtual staff development day, that customer relations form was great for that. And we've added options for things like, what are you contacting us about? If you want training, if you want to recommend content, offer us feedback, those options are included there. So if there are ever questions, I mean, we tried to make the forms very clear in what the usage was, but again, they all route to the same place, and they all should get to us and get to the right place, no matter what form you use. But we did want to create some options for an easier to fill out form for those softer needs like training or database suggestions and that type of thing. So I can return to Galileo Search. The last thing I want to cover with you all, and then I want to make sure that we have some time for the question and answers, is the About Galileo pages. And I can access those using the About Galileo link in the footer. So we have here just general information about Galileo on the lead page here. But if I'm looking for things like programs, Galileo Search, which is Galileo Digital Library of Georgia, that's there. About just history, mission, we have a new Galileo staff page, so you can see our lovely visages. So you can see all of our staff, including Mike White there on the left, and then I'm back up here, shining example ever with the bald head. Then we have obviously our programs, our governance, and this is where you'll find our policies is under governance. So if you're looking for those, when does my password change, those types of information, it'll be under governance, then policies. So that's where you'll find that info, authorized users, password distribution, all of that information is under Galileo Access Policies under governance. If you're participating in Gal Steer, I think I had at least one person who has, at least in the past, participated in the Galileo Steering Committee or other governance committees or subcommittees that you might be participating in, those are listed under governance as well. Community, we haven't done a lot here yet, but we have news. There is a substantial news feed, calendar, other things, and then tools and training. This is our marketing toolkit, which has marketing swag, not really marketing swag, but marketing images like for Mango and other databases, our presentations and materials. Pretty much if we've done a staff development day in recent years, or we've shared a handout, we put our all that information in the presentations and materials area. The statistics page is essentially the same. We haven't done a lot of redo on the statistics page yet, but if you're looking to access Galileo statistics, this is where it lives. And finally, training. So the training that you're in right now was listed here on the training page, along with, I wanted to point this out. I added some Galileo Search tutorials. I will be the first to own that these are adequate, but not great. We will absolutely redevelop these tutorials over time to be very good. If you're looking for those Galileo training videos we did in the past, the really nice ones that Ken Hensley did, they're here under Galileo tutorials on the main page. I'm actually working on this page right now, and I didn't get finished with it before we met, so I apologize that it's not in the shape that I want it to be at the moment. But all of the search sessions that I've been doing are listed here. I added recordings this morning for the first public library session that I did. Obviously, I'll be sending you all your recording along with the slide deck, but I will also be posting them here on the training page. So those are just some of the things that you'll find on the tools and training area. All right, we're with about 5 minutes left. I wanted to make sure that we had adequate time for Q&A, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. One thing I did want to mention is for those of you who are in a Pines library system, the Pines, we have a Pines connector, and it's working beautifully. It's one of the first things that we tested was to make sure that that was working properly. So you can log into Galileo directly via Pines. So that's working well. I'm going to put my slide deck up. Oh gosh, sorry about that. Teams does not do well with sharing slides, but I'm getting back to it. But the floor is open for any questions, the chat, or you can use your microphone. Mike, I will let me know if any questions have come in so far.
Haven't had any questions yet.
It's early. People are still getting their coffee in. I was going to mention this as well. I'm looking through my slide deck to make sure that I mentioned everything. One of the things that you may have noticed is the list of the individual collections from Digital Library of Georgia. We've pared that down substantially. So if you're looking for something that you saw as one of those collections, we've left the big collections like the newspapers, the Digital Library of Georgia main site. They're all still there, but we pared down substantially because the collections that DLG was adding, there were over 900, and we couldn't keep up and have a sustainable list of resources. So if you're looking for one of the DLG collections that you're not seeing in the database list anymore, you'll easily find it. Go to just Explore and then go to Collections, and they have the collections all listed there. I wanted to mention that. See a question, did something come in on the chat, Mike? Okay, comment from Dharma. This has been very helpful. New librarian.
Sorry, I was
haven't had a
muted.
lot of experience. That's okay. This has been helpful to see all the different ways to use the site. Awesome. Well, that's great, Dharma. I'm glad that it was helpful. It's always nice when we have a timely way of getting some new librarians in the mix, and welcome. Seeing no other questions, we have about 3 minutes left, so I'm happy to answer anything that you all would like to ask, and you're welcome to activate your microphone as long as everyone doesn't do it at once and ask that way. All right. quiet bunch this morning, still processing your coffee. Well, again, that is everything that I wanted to share. I will hang out for the next minute or two in case there are questions that you all would like to ask. Again, I'll be sending out the slides and other information probably today or tomorrow. But I want to thank you all for attending. I mentioned the LibGuide with all the different training information. I mentioned the feedback button for specific feedback on the portal site. Welcome you all to add information there and get that to us. We'd love to have your feedback.
There's been a few questions come in.
Sure. Great. Let me pop over.
Dharma asked, for children's items, what would be the best databases?
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. That's a great, I'm glad you asked that, Dharma, because we have made a slight change, and I'm happy to hang out. We're right on time here. Let me go stop sharing this and share my browser again. Great question, and I sometimes I'm mentioning this and sometimes forgetting. It's early in the morning for me as well. So I'm going to go back to the Galileo page here. One of the things that we wanted to make sure that we highlighted here for our public libraries is eRead Kids, which is an initiative of the Georgia Public Library Service, which is 15,000. I think it's actually grown since we updated this. We probably need to review this description, but it's 15,000 eRead ebooks. Specifically for kids. One thing that we wanted to do in the search area is, if you're in the past, we had different views for different groups like elementary, middle, and high, and we applied those for all of the Galileo accounts, but that wasn't sustainable for us. So we're just doing that for K-12 now. But we've classified a lot of the resources with high school, elementary, and other keywords so that we can find them easily in the context of the Galileo search. So one thing I'll point out is the Ebook K8 Collection is a really good free ebook collection that's free, that's available to everyone throughout Galileo, and it has a ton of great kids books, a lot of good nonfiction, some fiction. Explora is great for finding articles with kids. And Explora is really nice because it is kind of grade leveled. There are different versions of Explora. I found Explora Elementary, and you see that it has biographies, arts and music, other things there. But as far as just generally finding things on Galileo, we have keyworded it and subject oriented it so that you can find resources by grade level, elementary, high school, middle school, fairly easily. That's one thing that we've designed into all versions of Galileo so that we can do this. If you were to have a K-12 student come in, I'll show this as quickly as I can. I know we're kind of at the end of time, and they have their K-12 Galileo account. They have access to these different views. And I mentioned that we may add these back for public libraries at some point. It will require a lot of development, so it's probably down the road. But you see, if you're working with a kid who is from an elementary school, a middle school, a high school, you can access an elementary school view. Now, obviously, they have some different resources. All of our public schools and private schools have Britannica School Elementary, which is a great resource for kids. But that should give you a quick way to find resources for kids and browse through things. And if you have any specific questions on that, Dharma, do let us know. I'm happy to answer anything like that if you want to email me directly. Great question. Other questions come in, Mike?
Trudy, I already answered it, but Trudy Green had asked, is the spotlight area currently the same for all public libraries? And I'll let her know that it currently is, but it can be customized. So if you're interested in being able to log in to Galileo Admin and customize that yourself, just submit a support ticket, and I'll be doing some trainings on how to do that. And so just wanted to...
Yeah, and it is really nice functionality, Trudy, that I know that you all will like there, because you all do such a great job with your webpage already with express links and other things. It's just another opportunity for, I think, ACC to put up specific resources that your users use. But yeah, we set those defaults just kind of based on usage and need and the things that we perceived as most common. So we put them up there with the idea that people can change them.
Yeah, and then they don't necessarily have to be resources either. If you had
Exactly.
an event at your library, you could, add that there just temporarily if you wanted to, and so it is flexible.
It's very flexible. Yeah. The development team did a lot of great work to make that extremely flexible. All right, great questions. Thank you, Trudy. Thank you, everyone. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap up. I thank you all so much for your time and attention this morning, bright and early on a Monday. And we'll look forward to continuing to work with you on this. We look forward to any feedback you have to share. And I'll be getting the recordings and slide deck out to you soon. And thank you all. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.